This is Greg Carson, former player of the Nighthawks and alumni from 1993 to 1997. Also proud member of the first Cyclone Taylor Championship team in Beaver Valley. You're listening to Hawk Talk with hosts and alumni Ross Simner, Jake Morissette, and Connor Jones. Enjoy the show, folks.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Hawk Nest. This is Ross Simner coming in from Toronto. I got Jake Morissette all the way over in Cardiff there. How you doing, Jakey?
Yeah, doing good here, Simmy. Enjoying the Cardiff weather. Lots of rain, but loving it. How are you doing?
Beauty. Yeah, I'm great, man. We same kind of thing over here. You had the pleasure of running into a former Hawk over there in Cardiff over the holiday, right? You caught up for a nice pint with Riley Brandt. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. Riley Brandt, obviously playing over here for the Cardiff Devils. Caught up with him over the holidays. Couple drinks in town. He had a few days off, so it was nice to catch up with him, talk about the Hawks, among other things.
Nice. And Riley's from the area, right?
Yeah, he's from Trail, but he played for the Hawks for a couple of years, I think. But yeah, now he's been over here since last year, doing really well.
Awesome, man. So as everyone knows, we do the alumni podcast. We like to talk, kind of bring up some good stories and stuff like that, and kind of get people connected and talking about good stuff and some memories, and then also like to reach out to each other and see how each other are doing, and touch base and kind of build up something that we've all been a part of. And it's awesome to have guests on. So if anyone here is interested, please drop us a line or reach out over social media or Instagram. Our main man Connor Jones today, he's got a flight delayed. It's all right. He's kind of like our second assist anyways. So we're going to go ahead without him. Today he told us to take the bull by the horns and get this pod in, because we're pretty excited today for this guy again was my coach, one of my coaches when I played. And I think I've said this to you before, Jake. I thought he was like a grizzled 10-year vet coach. I just assumed it the way this guy conducted himself, and finding out that was actually his first year coaching.
Intensity that he brings, he's a veteran guy.
And every time me and you talk, the first thing I had written down, and what we always say to us, here comes Matteucci.
I don't ever remember that being said, by the way.
Tooch, well, you don't remember it from a VHS tape?
Oh yeah.
So what's up? What's new?
Still working the same. When you guys played, still working for the local power company here. I know your brother does. We beak each other on internal chat.
The internal flip phones.
Yes.
You're really rocking your inner Jason Statham right now, by the way. You're looking sharp.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it's shoulders down. Yeah.
5 a.m. club.
Yeah. No, everything's going good. I'm not really do much with hockey anymore. I actually helped an under 18. You remember Jimmy Maniego?
Yeah.
So his daughter, he coaches his daughter's under 18 teams. So I help with them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm still involved. Hockey's changed. That's something I'd love to talk about. Like, hockey sure has changed, man, in so many ways for the positive, I would say, and could be argued for the negative. But no, the Kootenays has been awesome. We bought another house out on Kootenay Lake, just past Nelson, about 45 minutes past Nelson. So that's kind of the fortress of solitude. Just sort of, you have your basement, I have my the fortress of solitude.
They still don't have a McDonald's out in Nelson, do they?
No, they have a bylaw for the like box stores slash they have the A&W, but that's kind of
just the A&Ws.
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Are you still blocking shots? No shin pads in practice with these currently? Like, are you still sprawling out?
I told Connor I'm half the person I used to be. I try and tell stories to these girls, and they look at me like I have 8 heads. Like,
you gotta get with all the action.
It's just different. Like, for a guy, I try to explain to them how I could call you an a-hole, or I can call somebody an a-hole, or just to try and get them going, and you respond. But with a girl, they don't like to be singled out. you might know from your girls, they just don't like to be singled out. And if you can get, this is a tip for you and your daughters, if you can get your girls to have a little bit of a thicker skin and be a little bit of a savage, like the world, they're freaking. The world is their chestnut, like totally. Like with these girls, like I try and do a dad joke every practice. Like that's what I've come down to, a dad joke. Like, like
That's fantastic, man. I'm sure they appreciate it.
I don't know.
So coaching wise, how did you get into the Hawks? How did that become a thing for you? How did that become the Hawk family? Like again, when your first year is my first year, well, my only year there as well. But how did that come about?
You remember, because Pat, it was always Pat and Jonesy, so we had a hockey school. So around '96, I started with the hockey school. So like for 4 years, I was kind of around those guys all the time. You know what I mean? I knew Jonesy from minor hockey, and Pat was a year older than me, so we played together. So we had this hockey school, and then Pat was going to leave. Pat Corrado, sorry.
Yeah.
He was going to leave, and so I remember Jonesy just asking me, like, there's no formal process, and like everybody thinks we're this highfalutin program, but it was just like, hey, what are you doing this winter? Totally. And at the time,
well, that's a trust thing too, right? That he knew you and stuff like that.
Yeah, he did, and then of course, with Hank too. Like Hank, I kind of knew Hank. I didn't know I knew of Hank Deadmarsh, by the way. So I remember Jonesy told me the minute he told Hank that, he asked me, he goes, "Does he know what he's effing in for?" And Jonesy says, "Yeah, I think you'll be okay." He goes, "Okay, I don't know." So that was day one. Um, they unloaded. I remember our very first meeting. It was just we showed up and they had a cavern. If anybody's ever been, and for some of the older guys, they wouldn't have seen this, but at the time the office was the iteration of it now is not how it used to be. You had to go through a couple of doors, and that used to be an equipment room that Hank said F it one day and just threw up some drywall, and the rink had to comply. But anyways, we were in there and we had a list of kids we just phoned, like, because at that time Roslyn had folded. Roslyn Warriors had folded. And so they had a bunch of kids and the year before, but there's some Roslyn kids that we just phoned. He goes to get on the phone, just recruit this kid, talk to this kid. I can still remember my first phone call. So that was pretty much it. And then I think we played crib the rest of the time, but that was that was day one, and then it kind of just went from there. Yeah, and if you remember, Jake, our training camp had to be in 2000. Was my first year, was in Trail, because our ice wasn't in Fruitvale. Yeah. And I remember we're sitting at this stupid table, and Jarrett Mason, who was year 5 of 5 years with the team, he comes to the table, and we're sitting there and we're just taking down names. Real formal process, of course, and Jared goes, "Hey Hank, this is my 5th year. Do you think the team, like, how much is the team gonna contribute to my skates?" And so Hank goes like this. He goes, "Hang on a sec." He goes, "How much is that fall?" So that was really cool. And if you remember that year as well, we brought in Kei Tanasaki from Japan, and so that was as a favor from Willie Desjardins, who was coaching over in Japan, who of course coached Canucks and is back in Medicine Hat. He Memorial Cup with Medicine Hat and that. So that was as a favor.
My line mate, Kei Tanasaki.
Yeah, right? That's right. So Willie had coached Jonesy in at UFC, so then that's how we got Kei. So from like the national team program from Japan.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, not many people know that. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, that's how I got into it. Yeah.
Oh, first cool. That's ever. Really cool. Yeah. The one thing I was going to ask you about, you kind of touched on it, was something probably a lot of guys are interested in, because Hank was such a big part of the team for a long time, and just kind of what it was like working with him. Because I know from a player's perspective, he had that kind of the intimidation factor, but also kind of a fascination with his, let's call it his travel attire, maybe. And I don't know, maybe that possibly what it was like working with him, and maybe that'll lead you into like how things have changed from where they were then in the game and what it's like now.
Yeah. you said intimidation, but this is gonna sound weird to say this word, but like love, like he just. I saw a different aspect. I wasn't intimidated because of him behind closed doors was the exact opposite person.
Yeah.
Like, but no, oh God, there's so many. This podcast, this information can only. I know Terry's going to write a book. I know he is. But
you just launched, you just pumped it there a little bit, eh?
I know he's gonna. I know he's gonna write a book, and the Hank chapter doesn't even have to have Hank's name. Like locally, he's a local businessman who's known for getting crap done and his way or the highway. And if you don't like it, that was exactly how it was with hockey. And people that would leave there, and hopefully some of the older guys are here that played for get to see this, played for him or when he coached, is that he the intimidation thing, but that was totally him. So if you got past that, I remember putting Angus McGilvery out on the ice one time, and he got scored on, and Hank runs. That got so many stories. He runs around, in Beer Valley. You run around, he comes over to me, and he goes, "If you put that effing string bean on the ice one more effing time," and I go, Hank, I go, get out of here. So in between periods, I go sit down, and we sit down in between periods. I go, what was that? He goes, I don't know. I don't know. I just can't help it. What did I say? I go, you don't remember what you said? No, I don't remember what I said. Like, move on. Like, so little stuff like that. Like, the reason I say love.
No, you're 100% right. That is like, I think every person that's played for him and being a part of that would feel the same way. Like when you leave there with such a great impression and feeling, and you really learn that about him.
I think maybe intimidation wasn't the right word, but like the intensity and passion, and it can be intimidating at times. But I think that's why I asked, because lots of guys want to know because they know how much he cared and like.
Remember the how she goes? Remember the how she go move? He goes, when you're close in the net, he goes, put it under the fucking bar, under the bar,
under the bar,
and under the bar. Like he goes, then he'll come in the back. That's the difference. You got more set under the bar. You got Simner. He'll try, but it's like he has a stick on. He's holding the wrong-handed stick, but like that, and then he. So his background, I got to talk about him again. His background was basketball. It wasn't hockey. So he grew. Yeah, he grew up. You remember where the Boomas the back way to Fruitvale when didn't want to go through. He went the back way through the ferry there through the dairy. He lived down there, and they couldn't afford it. It was a big family, so he played basketball, and everything he talked about centered around basketball and positioning. And he talked about it so much. He never talked about it with you guys, but with us, he talked about it so much. So the intimidation thing and how things have changed, that part to me has left the game. That not intimidation. I don't know, in the workplace, you guys might notice it in the workplace.
Like the fire.
There's always that guy at work. Like, so I'm a manager, and then there's union guys. And the union guys, what's left is the Hank guy who holds everybody accountable, not the boss. But your peer who holds you accountable, that was him, and that's left. There's a lot of people who don't like that, who can't handle that. But once you get like you said, once guys left, they would say, we had Hank. It was kind of that Don Cherry factor, or that, you know what I mean? We're so lucky to have it.
I'll tell anyone right now. I tell you right now. I reached out to you that you shot me his number. I called him up about a month and a half ago or so. He didn't pick up. He probably screened the shit out of my number, but I left him a message, and he called me back pretty much right away, and we chatted for about a half hour. And I'm coaching basketball now. Actually, it's funny. So we talked about that a little bit. We talked about just everything in general, and just how things are going. It was really nice to talk to him. Like he was, he sound, it was like we just were shooting the shit, after a game or something like that when I was at -2 or maybe even. We didn't get scored against that often, but we weren't on for that many goals either. But can you at least explain the rating system? How? Please try to give the people out there a little bit, because you've as a coach. I can see you confused as hell trying to figure it out. But
Yeah, so awesome. To begin with, I'll get to that in a sec. But Snake, you talked about his attire. He had no sense of fashion. He didn't give a flying F either. So we talk about the poison pants. He had these too legit to quit sweatpants like MC Hammer would wear, and they had skull and crossbones on them.
His buff attire.
Remember?
Oh, that's hilarious. I remember we still, anytime you catch up with any of the boys, they still come up.
Poison pants, and he loved it. So, anyways, and he also had to have two cell phones because if one would cut out on him on the road, he would throw it. So you'd have to have the other one so he would want to look for it. Anyways,
as they're trying to take pregame naps, he's going, who's up for some 31?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. He'd hear this. He'd hear the cards and be like,
yeah,
where was I? Anyways,
I love it.
So the rating system after every game, we would sit down. He had these yellow sheets that he would use to provide quotes because he was an electrical contractor, and he had these yellow sheets and they were long. At the start of the year, he'd write everybody's name down perfect and perfect penmanship, and then he'd have the games. Like it's the Excel spreadsheet, but it's all handwritten. He still does it to this day. And then it was like 1 out of 3. So I always argue this rating thing because Jake, you had a different rating system than Ross. So if Ross had the game of his life, you might have been a 2. 1 like a 3 was good. 3 was good, 2 was okay. So 1 for every period, and then 1 was a poop, and then sometimes you got and sometimes you got it.
What was there like was he the original like algorithm guy? Like, what was
no.
he based on like Corsi and shit, or like what was it?
No, I don't know why we even did it, because Jonesy and I would come up with a number. He'd go, no, he was a 3. No, he was so shit. So this is actually ingenious because when we would bring a kid in before a game and just say, man, you've been awful. And he goes, you want to see the ratings? You want to see your last 15 games? Here you go. And then you're this. And no one ever argued it. No one ever. No one ever freaking argued it. And we did take the time. We did take the time to go over this stuff. So it wasn't just out of somebody's head. And we showed parents too. Parents that would phone and bitch because you want to come in. And it's clever. You want to come in and talk? Come on in and talk. This is little Johnny here. And
was there like was anyone like is there like 2.2 or 2. Like I just remember being like
there were some 0.5s in there.
0.5s, yeah.
There's some 0.5s in there. Like I said, like your 3 might have been a Jake 2. That's no offense meant, because you if we kept everybody on the same rating, like when Tyler, God rest his soul, would have Levitt would have a really good, like, he got the puck out a couple of times when times he wouldn't have, and that's pretty all that he contributed. That was a 3. That was a win. You know what I mean?
Fantastic.
That was a win. Yeah.
So we had like pretty much for every player. It wasn't across the board. It was every player had their own skill to work towards.
Yeah. So that you
and
can't compare yourself to other people. There,
that just shows like how much he got to know, how much he paid attention, how much he got to know the players, the team, everything. Right? Like it was pretty incredible. So
there's some stuff you can't share though too. Like there's stuff that happened as a team that the dressing room stuff that when you talk about intimidation or stuff that I've said over the years that I would never want repeated. Like that part of the game has changed, Snake. Like I regret some of the stuff I've done. Like I'm not to get super solemn here, but I regret some stuff I've said, and especially in the world today. And I actually wanted to bring that up. Like it's a different world. It's just different, and it's different for the good.
Yeah, as long as everyone's still, we're still learning and we're still trying to be better. I think kids today realize that, and I think people still being involved with the game to let kids know that, hey, it's you are going to make some mistakes, players now, but try to learn from everything and make sure that you're holding yourself accountable and your teammates accountable as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, having a bad day with your wife at home and you're freaking pissed off, and then everybody says, oh, you go to the rink and you feel a lot better. Well, I would go to the rink. I'd be still mad from that. I would take it out on you guys. Meaning
you block a few shots.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like everybody was different, but Hank always had that. He always had that. He has an X factor, and it's too bad. Like I go to a game now and I run into him. Like you said, it's just like we continued a conversation. Like it's like it just keeps continuing, and I'm gonna record the next one, and you're gonna go, oh, I missed that. I wish he'd. My kids, you guys don't know this. My kids would go in between practices if I couldn't leave them at home. He'd play crib with them. I think Eric owes him $1 million.
That's fantastic.
It was $1 a point, and he kept tabs too. He goes, he go like this, get in here. And
get in here.
4 years old, but
all right, we're moving on to a little rapid fire, Tooch. Okay.
Yeah.
So, quick questions, no thought, whatever comes first in your mind. Best nickname?
Boner.
Absolutely. Best opposing barn to visit?
Osiris.
Oh yeah. Best scrap that you've seen, or tough guy, memorable?
Jarrett Mason grabbing Mike Salakin.
Oh yeah, incredible. Was he like 12 at the time?
Yeah. He's 14, 21 and 14.
Most memorable goal or goals?
Two come to mind. Jamie Burnett top cheese against Delta.
Hey, Snake, I called that earlier.
Near that one, yeah.
And Jarrett Mason doing it in Campbell River a week later.
What, JJ, do you hate Sidner? Does everyone here hate Sidner?
Well, no, he got some...
honestly, comes in between first and second period. I think it was 0-0 at the time.
Yeah.
And literally looked at Jake and said, Jake, what do you hate Sidner? Do you know?
Yeah.
It was just like, hey boys, let's go, let's win this thing.
Yeah.
Incredible. Funniest change room guys?
I would say the Burnett's.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I think it's got to be the Burnett's for me too.
Yeah. Hands down.
Yeah.
So really quickly, because we didn't realize this, and you kind of filled us in right when we came out of the green room there, but and we are running. I mean, this will be a nice long episode for all those fans out there. I think the number 2 podcast in the nation behind the Hawk Nest, Spittin' Chicklets. You're saying that they had a little BV Nelson episode. Something happened there. Can you fill everyone in on that?
Yeah. So if you look online now, you might have seen it's actually for it to make Spittin' Chicklets is big, but there was you can't even call it a line brawl. It was a staged off the face off to start a period. 5 guys going at 5, like 5 Nelson kids going at 5 BV. As a result, there's like the coach has been suspended. For the Nelson coach is actually fired, suspended. Nelson's apologized to Beaver Valley. Every kid on the ice got 8 games. The BV kids got 2, but
so Nelson kids got 8 games.
Yeah. And it's everybody calls it a line brawl. It's not. You got to watch it. I've never seen this. People are going to say I'm soft and everything for saying that. I've never seen a line brawl starts with one fight and then it turns into a tussle. Then it turns into this. It's not 5 guys skating at people. I don't know what anybody was thinking. I don't know what anybody's thinking. It's despicable. I don't get it. I can't justify it. I cannot. And I know you guys got to read between the lines, but I don't know if you'd want it's funny. Jimmy was reffing. Jimmy was lining. Maniego was lining, and his kid plays on BV, right? Jimmy's kid plays on BV, so he's not allowed to ref, so he was just lining.
Yeah.
He told me he noticed that Nelson has a 6'7" kid that barely plays. All of a sudden, he's playing center to start the period, and at the last minute, he goes, just he knew something was up, and then you see those guys do their thing. There's no place.
What brought, like, was it the score of the game? What was?
No, there was apparently one of the BV guys ran the goalie in the previous period, and then somebody did get a bloody nose. All part of the game. Like, there's just nothing. How does that go in the dressing room? Okay, here's what's going to happen, guys. All 5 of you are going to skate. Like I've never heard. This is another thing. If Connor was here, he would he could attest to this. I've never heard Terry ever go get that guy. I will remember this. I do remember this. This happens often. Say Ross, you like that kid from Revelstoke in the playoffs there. If you were to grab him, like he would say, "Give it to him." That's all he would say in his own breath. You guys have probably heard that before. He just said, "Give it to him." He never ever condone that stuff. Everybody's saying, "Oh yeah, you can all say this," but that's the worst thing I've ever heard him say. For this. And for the I don't know.
Well, I'm glad there's at least it's coming to fruition. There's some repercussions, right? Which is
totally.
It's good to see. Jakey, you want to polish it up here at the end there?
Yeah, we'll finish it up. No, Tooch, thanks for joining us today. Obviously, we wanted to catch up with you. People want to hear us catch up with you because guys obviously loved you so much, loved playing for you, know how much you cared and how passionate you were for the team and for the guys. And I know so many guys keep in touch with you now. So it's great that we got to catch up with you.
Do you still have the home phone line, by the way? Because
I haven't reached out to that home phone line in a while.
AM calls, yeah.
Oh yeah. God, you guys. I can't believe I stayed out of trouble.
Right.
I'll say it's pretty cool to have, like, I was 31, 32 when I met you, Ross. So like you're 19. So like and Jake, you were 11 or something. And no, anyways, and it's amazing how we've stayed close as friends too.
Yeah, just saying, I'm going to miss you out here in Toronto because I was now out in Burnaby, but hopefully get you out here at some point. And Jakey, next time I'm over there and over in Wales or UK or whatever, we're gonna try to get together, right? So this has been fantastic, fellas. I think hopefully everyone enjoys it, and the stories are great. And a big part of what we do is just being a part of this organization. Still, like, we feel connected to this organization, and it's a good way for our alumni association to kind of realize that man, like, these are good times, and we can all kind of benefit and hang out and chat with each other. And if people like I said, people want to reach out and get a hold of us and get on the pod or just connect with some other members, like, please hit us up because that's what we're here for.
Totally. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, guys. You guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy it. We'll catch you guys soon, okay?
Thanks. See ya.
All right. Later, fellas.
Bye.
Hi, listeners. This is former Nighthawks player and captain Morgan Peace from the 2017 to 2020 seasons. I hope you're enjoying the show. Make sure to follow us on social media at BV Nighthawks Alums and to visit our website at bvnighthawksalum.ca.